Shalom, shalom. First off, I give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash, Yahweh being the true name for Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai being named for His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Jesus Christ. I give double honor to our apostles, double honor to our elders, a great millstone, and taught us truth and will, and salutations to hopeful light, pushing this truth and honesty, sincerity. This is Brother Yahweh Sop, continuing a lesson to the spirit power of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. This is another lesson, spiritual advice, words of wisdom. Came across this video that this guy uploaded. Looked like his channel is Raw for Yah. Okay, and you see on his profile icon, it's got the Paleo Hebrew for Yahweh. So by the way, the true name for the Heavenly Father is not Yah. It's Yah-ha-wah. You gotta finish it, man. Say the rest of it. Yah is just short within the scriptures, but it's short for Yahweh. You know, the Lord doesn't deal with nicknames and short names. He deals with his full name. So you got to say it right, man, if you're going to say it and call upon it in belief and prayer to him. So I want to throw that out there, but you'll hear him say that, Yah, you know, that's short. There's a lot of Yah, Yeshua, Yahweh Israelites out there. They're just ignorant of the full Paleo Hebrew. All right, but this lesson isn't about that. It's about the title of his video, okay? Hired with tassels and fire because of them. All right. You know, me myself in particular has done lessons on this, giving you advice, going to this topic for Jakes to avoid situations like this because it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary to have to go through this. Okay. You don't want to be over righteous to the point to where, you know, you lose good blessing opportunities that Yahweh might give you and you throw it away because you're being stupid. Okay, you have to have an understanding of the scriptures of reasons why we have to wear certain things and we do certain things, and certain things we can do and we can't do that we used to do in the ancient world. Okay, so I'm going to play a little bit of the video and we're going to edify through the scriptures. He's going to give some of his testimony. You know, obviously for me, it sounded like a great opportunity, and dude, you ruined it, man. Okay, now you're not in sin for wearing your fringes. I want to put that out there first and foremost. But as a great millstone, are not against fringes. All right, and we don't have any lack of courage if we choose not to wear them all the time like other Hebrew Israelite camps do. All right, we simply use wisdom, and we know how to move in the times that Yahweh Shai said we would be living in, and directed us on how to move and how to operate, so you're not bringing more hell upon yourself than is necessary. Okay, and for one thing, you got to get through your head, Jake. First and foremost, this is not an all-inclusive thing. This isn't from anybody and everybody is going to support you and believe in what you do. You have to understand, like, you got to move like Clark Kent while you're in this truth. Yes, this truth has power. You may have great power, but it comes with great responsibility, and it comes with wisdom. And it's not for everybody. Just know that you being affiliated with being a Hebrew Israelite, all right, and coming into the know and have the understanding of this, you are not going to get a trophy, a medal for it. You're not going to get support for it. You're going to get nothing but hatred, besides those that are believers along with you. But outside of that, you're going to get nothing but hatred. And you're living in a place where it's your captivity. It's not your rest. It's not your kingdom. So we just don't have the liberty to openly do everything of the scriptures. We just don't. And you have to understand the times we're in, the place you are in. So use this wisdom, this advice that you're about to get. Okay, I want to start with a scripture before I play this video. This is Proverbs 19:20. It says, "Hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be wise in the latter end. There are many devices in a man's heart, nevertheless the counsel of Yahweh, that shall stand." So take counsel. All right, you got apostles and elders that do videos like this. It's counsel for you, okay, to where you don't get yourself fucked up than what you need to. You know, you got to know how to be able to move, and you got to be very wise living in this land of captivity called America. Okay, if you want to be able to function and, you know, get your daily bread, you got to move a certain way. You know, we love the Lord. We want to show him off, you know, but there's a time and a place for everything. Okay, so going into, before we play the video, you're going to see what happens when you don't take heed to that counsel, because many brothers have done lessons on this. Okay, we've done open rebuke. We had a guy at Genesis that's in Kansas City. He didn't take the rebuke. He did a personal lesson, coming against the very topic that I'm going to speak about. And it's no, shade against that dude. Whatever the dude's doing with his life, that's on him. But this is just an example of what we were talking about, of the consequences of trying to be a Jew outwardly and, widely publicly proclaiming that you're a Hebrew Israelite, to let all know you're going to go through things that you're going to see in this video.
Hopefully it's short anyway. Just a brief video of some hardships, but through those hardships, my wife and I just recently went through. Lately we've been struggling and going through some hardships, but through those hardships, God's shown me that I can still praise Him in the midst of hard situations. Even if it's hard, you can still praise Him, and He's still there, and to trust Him. He may challenge us to see if we truly trust Him, and it's going to be difficult. I can feel it. I feel it. It's going to be very difficult, but it's possible. But recently, we had an opportunity. My wife and I got a job at an electrical contracting company, and went to an interview, I think a week ago, might have been 2, but it was an in-person interview, just kind of to go over the basics of what the company stands for, and it was a faith-based company, and we went over some information on their history.
Okay, so he got a great opportunity, and this is what the Lord does, man. He gives you opportunities. Sometimes you pray, He asks for it, and then he'll send you the answer. Okay, but what you do with it is up to you. Sometimes you can shoot yourself in the foot, because he got hired as a contractor for an electrical company, which has got to be very, very lucrative. That's a great opportunity, man. Okay. All right, so I like to always use the parable of the drowning man as a story. Okay, and this applies to your everyday life when you're going through things. Salakia, I know you want to listen to the video, but I want to share this example real quick. Okay, so I'm going to read this. It says, a man was trapped in his house during a flood. He began praying to God to rescue him. He had a vision in his head of God's hand reaching down from heaven and lifting him to safety. The water started to rise in his house. His neighbor urged him to leave and offered him a ride to safety. The man yelled back, "I am waiting for God to save me." The neighbor then drove off in his pickup truck, Slakia. The man continued to pray and hold on to his vision, and the water began rising in his house. He had to climb up to the roof. A boat came by with some people heading for safe ground. They yelled at the man to grab a rope they were ready to throw in and take him to safety. He told them that he was waiting for God to save him. They shook their heads and moved on. The man continued to pray, believing with all his heart that he would be saved by God. The floodwaters continued to rise. A helicopter flew by, and a voice came over a loudspeaker offering to lower a ladder to take him off the roof. The man waved the helicopter away, shouting back that he was waiting for God to save him. The helicopter left. The flooding water came over the roof and caught him up and swept him away. He drowned. When he reached heaven and asked, "God, why did you not save me? I believed in you with all my heart. Why did you let me drown?" God replied, "I sent you a pickup truck, a boat, and a helicopter, and you refused all of them. What else could I possibly do for you?" Okay, so that's the same example applies to your everyday life. It's a good parable to go by. Always remember it. You got to pay attention and grab hold to the blessings that you're given when they come. The opportunity comes to you. Don't mess it up. And if you pay attention to the videos and watch counsel of your elders and apostles and follow the correct sound doctrine, okay, then you would have known that you shouldn't have been going to that interview with your teat seats and your tassels on. That's not the time and place for it. The time and place for it is at the highways and hedges. When you're standing for the Lord and you're prophesying and you're actually there at a location to preach His word, in season, out of season, at the highways and hedges, not at your place of employment. You're not about to save nobody and deliver somebody coming to work with your tassels and your teat seats on. Okay? Ultimately, that's not part of doing the work. There's nobody there that's going to believe in this, and it's a waste of your time, and you're just marking yourself to identify yourself with publicly has been accepted as potential Terro, if you know what I'm saying, Terrorist. It's all right. I don't want to say too much of it, but that's what they label us that believe as that so-called black people and Latinos and natives that believe that we are Hebrew Israelites. That's what we're labeled as. All the groups, all the Israelite groups are on the Southern Poverty Law Center as potential T-word groups. So what do you think you about to accomplish showing up to the interview with that on? The Lord isn't about to continue to reach out his hand directly out of heaven and bless you with that job. He already gave you an opportunity there. And you didn't use the parable of the drowning man, and you let yourself drown. He was about to be hired as a contracted electrician, man, for a reputable company that got money because he goes in to explain all the things that they were providing for him, and you fucked it up, Jake. Okay, but let's play on further.
Their company and kind of the founders of it, and it was very interesting, and it felt good. It felt good to have been, in my mind at the time, Baruch by Yah, that I had an opportunity for a job. So we went further with the interview, and a week later I went to see a different manager, a corporate manager, and we had another interview, and this is when I filled out some paperwork. And part of the paperwork too was, and I thought this was even a bigger sign from Yah that it was from him. One of their policies was they're to respect, Sabbaths. And I was like, this is awesome. I get to work in a corporate company.
No, it's not your Sabbath. The Hebrew Israelite Sabbath, by the way, is follow the new moon, the lunar calendar, not the sun calendar. Other groups teach that the Sabbath is on every Saturday and Sunday, so that's what he's talking about. They honor the Sabbaths. No, they do not. These people are not believers of the world, man. Okay? This is Matthew 7:21. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter to the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. You gotta understand that doing the will is actually ultimately at the highways and hedges. That's the ultimate will. Not because just somebody says they believe in God. That doesn't count as the will. And it doesn't mean that they of the Lord's. You know, a lot of people that believe in God, and most of them they call upon Jesus Christ, JC. That's what they call him as. Okay? So just because someone says that they're a believer, don't mean they of his. You know, you can't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. And Jake tries to immerse himself with everybody that has some type of sentiment or proclaims to have some type of value in God. They have other gods. They're not talking about yours, Jake. Okay?
I get finally Baruch with good money to come for income. And I also am guaranteed my Shabbats off. You know, I had to play it by ear, but the papers did.
Okay, right then and there. That for him, his eyes and his mindset, you had it made, Jake. You got everything that you asked for. But you simply could not apply the scriptures, man, to your situation. And you didn't use the parable of the drowning man. Okay?
That I get my Shabbats off. And I was just excited. And just, they provide you with the learnings and the teachings. And I was given paperwork kind of to just show what I would be doing as an apprentice. And it was exciting. It was an exciting feeling. We went through the paperwork, so everything was fine. And I did have a question for that man that day. And I showed him my tassels, if these would be a problem. Because I told him I wanted to be honest and lay everything on the table for you. And just, because I didn't want to go further if it's just not worth it,
Okay, so here's Jake has a zeal. You have a high belief, which is great. There's no sin in you wearing your tassels and your blue borders and your fringes. But you have to be wise in the right time and the place for it, Jake. Okay? This is Matthew 7:6. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under your feet and turn again and rend you. So that's the number one mistake he made. He cast his pearls before swine. This truth is like pearls, it's gold, but it's not for, it's not an open door for everybody, man. It's only for a select chosen that are really sincere in their belief and your boss and your supervisor immediately ain't about to believe. If only 1/3 of the nation of Israel and the 144,000 the elect is going to be delivered this time around and saved, how does the math compute for that being one of your supervisors or your boss at a job that has a company that probably has hundreds of thousands of people? The Lord ain't coming back to save these regular public hundreds of thousands of people. He's coming for a select chosen. Okay? And they're going to be selected to gravitate towards the truth by the means of the teachings. They gravitate towards by coming across the truth of teaching the word of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And they have to be actively looking for it, and the Spirit leads them to it, just like you got led up to come to the highways and hedges, come to camp and learn about it. You are actively learning and seeking knowledge and understanding of the Lord. These people that he worked for, they're not doing that. They just claim to be faith-based, but it's a business. And they want to target other more Christian believers that are faith-based to get their business and get support from them because they tithe and offer regularly in the Christian church. That don't mean they believe in the Israelite way. Okay? Just because they have Bibles and scriptures doesn't mean they actually read them and believe in the truth that you believe in, Jake. So you casting your pearls before swine. And you know, this is in red. This is in Matthew 23. Yahushua is saying this, giving the exact same warnings, okay? There are certain groups of people that only teach about the fringes because it's for financial gain to gain more members, and they turn it into like a club and a fraternity situation where it's a uniform to identify what group you belong in, to bring more mass awakening or attention to it, to spotlight. So this is why you have groups like IUIC. They have all purple and gold everything, all matching, and they make sure fringes is on all of it because they have trademarked that for their group and their organization. Not necessarily that they're following the purpose of the fringes in the scriptures. Okay, but read this. Matthew 23:5 says, "But all their works they do for to be seen of men. They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments." So the purpose of the fringes is not to be seen and say, so, oh, you must be Israelite, you must be a God-fearing man. No, it's not the purpose. What is the purpose of the fringes, man? Okay, what is the purpose? We're going to grab it. This is Numbers 15:38. It says, "Speak unto the children of Israel and bid them that they make fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put on the fringe of the borders and a ribbon of blue. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of Yahweh and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye use to go a whoring." Right, okay, so the purpose of them is to remember the commandments, to remember to not go off. Okay, it's not a ticket or a token that if you're caught without them, you're not going to get delivered and saved. You're not going to find that within scriptures. If you're caught without your fringes on, you're going to be punishable by death and not delivered. That's just simply not the case. It doesn't make any sense. Okay? Even in the time of Egypt, our great Exodus, man, we had to take off because the Egyptians were running after us to kill us. You think Jake was making sure that their fringes was on every single thing they had before they left and went off running? No, they just grabbed what they could and go. Okay? You're not gonna. The Lord isn't gonna send a death angel to kill you if you don't have your fringes on. And that's what IUIC and these other groups, GLCC, okay, Genesis, Sakari, a lot of these other camps, they get on people or Jake because they're not wearing fringes on their underwear and everything, all their garments and out publicly. It's not to be seen of men. It says, "And that you seek not after your own heart and your own eyes in which you use to go whoring." So you shouldn't seek after your own heart and your own eyes and your purpose on wearing them. Because a lot of Jake is just using fridges like a billboard to catch attention for people to financially join their group and their affiliation. So they have done that and reworded it in a way to make Jake feel some type of way if he walk around and don't go to work and he don't have his fridges on. He feels like he's going off. But you're not going off, brother, man. Okay? What did the Lord say about belief? This is Galatians 2:16. It says, "Knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law." An example of works of the law is, right, putting fringes on your garments. Okay? And the Lord says this, "Knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by the faith of Yahushua Mashiach. Okay, right. We can't 100% keep this law 100% perfectly. On the Passover, you're supposed to be in the land of Egypt. I mean, not the land of Egypt, the land of Israel. Salakia. How many of us got the income and the safety to be able to go to Israel right now in the midst of all the bombing with Iran to keep our Passover? Don't have it, man. So you're not justified by the works of the law. It says, but by the faith of Yahushua Mashiach. So you're justified by the belief in the Lord first. It says, even we have believed in Yahushua Mashiach that we might be justified by the faith of a Mashiach and not by the works of the law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified. So you could try to keep 100% by the book commandments all you want. You're not going to be justified if you don't truly, sincerely believe in the Lord. Now, again, you're no sin if you want to do it and want to wear it. But hey, you're not using wisdom and you're not owning up and recognizing that you're in a land of captivity. Okay. And we just don't have the liberty to do all of that. Matthew 10:16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. So as you're a sheep and you're around a bunch of wolves, okay, should you make it obvious that you're prey? Should you make it obvious that you're prey? No, you shouldn't, man. Okay, and in this society right now, in America, being a Hebrew Israelite is not honorable. And you're looked at as the enemy and you're looked at as dangerous for associating with it. So you don't need to let everybody know what you about. Okay? This is Ecclesiastes 7:16. It says, be not righteous overmuch, neither make thyself overwise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? Why should you destroy your own potential career and job to take care of your family? Okay, like to go into the drowning man parable. The Lord gave you a truck, gave you a boat, gave you a helicopter. No, I don't need all of that. You waiting for a miraculous hand to come down from heaven. Here's this job for you. No, man. It doesn't work like that, okay? We're in a land of captivity or slavery. And you are hated and you are targeted. Okay, so why should you destroy yourself? Again, you're not in a sin. There's no sin in wearing fringes. We're not speaking that you can't wear your fringes. Okay, because here at camp, all brothers here, we got them on. Those garments we wearing, there's a blue border of fringes down. You can see Taz over here in the corner. Okay, those are fringes right there at the bottom. We're all wearing garments that have borders of blue and fringes on them. It's just a time and a place for it, Jake. We're not against it. We're just telling you, hey, you shouldn't be, and you don't have to put them on every single one of your shirts, your t-shirts, your underwear, your shoes, your jeans, on your everyday life while you out conducting business, getting things that you need to get. Okay, it's not wise for all of that. Now when it comes time to serving the Lord and drawing attention to Him and doing His work, yes, you need to put them on. It's a requirement. Put on a garment with some blue borders and fringes, because that's the time, place where you're actively teaching about the Lord and you're trying to gather that type of attention. But in your workplace, wrong place, wrong time.
Spend some time somewhere else, we're finding something else. And there was no direct no, or there wasn't no direct yes either. But he said, basically, it probably wouldn't be a problem is what it was sounding like. It was being interpreted that way anyway.
And that was what at the point in time that guy probably didn't know what they really represented. As he spent more time working for him, and they went to research because he brought it up, and they looked up tassels, and they seen all these black people wearing them and what they associated with it. I guarantee it's a white company, and they said, nah, we ain't with this. Because you are identified as a black identity extremist. So that was dumb, Jake. Okay, we're going to fast forward a little bit. He's going to describe what happened. So he ended up getting the job. He went to the training, and he's going through everything, and he's good. You're in there. And look what happens.
With the safety protocols and everything. And he proceeds to tell me, so I notice you're wearing tassels. I'm like, yes, sir, I am. And he's like, well, are they for your religious beliefs? I was like, yes, sir, they are. He's like, well, involuntarily, he worded it in a way to where it was a little tricky how he worded it. But long story short, he basically said, you know, if I wear these tassels, I cannot work for this company. And so I told him, I cannot take these off. These can't come off. I can't do that. I was like, no, thank you. I can't. And he said, well, okay. And that was it. There was no options given to me of reducing the size of my tassels or, you know, doing an exempt. See, I didn't know you could do that. You can do like, there's a policy supposedly, I think Brother Ray mentioned it, a policy about making an exception for religious beliefs. I just hate that it has to come to that, you know, I really do. But
that policies that have been pushed out nationwide, those are nationally accepted religions. Okay, so if you're like Muslim, certain things they won't fuck with you because they know there's a lawsuit. If you're Jewish and you have a little small hat on your head, they know not to fuck with it. Being a Hebrew Israelite as a so-called black man is not falling under that type of protection. It's whatever's socially and publicly accepted. And that will never be publicly and socially accepted. Now, you got some companies that don't want to get super technical, and you throw that card out there, they'll just accept it. But it's better to not throw the card out at all. Okay? Just be like Clark Kent. All right? That's the best thing you can do.
I guess the HR manager, she ended up standing up and saying, okay, well, we got to go do some resigning papers in the office. And so we went into the office, and she slides me a piece of white paper, just blank paper, with the date on it, 4/17/2026. She says, I need you to write down on this paper the reason for you voluntarily resigning from this company.
Okay, so here's Esau's and the horns coming out. See, we told you, Jake. And that was unnecessary. Didn't never have to even go there, man. If you just let not know. This is Matthew 6, verse 1. It says, Take heed that ye do not your alms before men to be seen of them. Otherwise ye have no reward of your Father which is in heaven. Therefore, when thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. But when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. For thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. Now you look up alms. Says alms are money, food, or clothing given freely to relieve the poor, often as charitable or religious act. Okay, so derived from the Greek word for pity or compassion. All right, and we have a lot of compassion, and we have a lot of belief and offerings in believing in this truth. And some people may wear the T-seats to, get Jake's attention and let them know, okay, what this truth is, which is the ultimate form of charity, sharing the message of the truth. All right, but when you're doing your alms, man, don't do it before non-believers or people that don't believe and don't support it. So you got a lot of people wearing fringes, okay, so they may have glory of men. That's hypocritical. Not saying that that's got the purpose of that guy's doing it. I'm just saying at a collective, many Israelites are on that spirit. They're looking for glory of men. All right. So it says, when thou doest alms, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. Right, man. So the left hand side, Esau Edom and his culture and his religions and his Christianity has no business in what you got going on, man. You don't let them know your right hand doeth. It says, let thine alms may be in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. Right. So in secret, we believe in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Openly at the highways and hedges, we believe in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. But at workplace, we don't go around saying and calling upon the name of Yahweh Shem Shai in front of everybody, saying that you were a Hebrew Israelite and fuck Esau, he's a devil, and they're going into captivity. That's stupid. That's stupid, fucking stupid. Okay? And you got some trying to switch it up to try to make it all inclusive for Edomites too, such as Genesis, saying that white people are going to be in the kingdom too, Esau is going to be in the kingdom. No, he's not. They're trying to make it more comfortable for themselves in this captivity. To try to escape, the Jacob's trouble that's coming. To think that, if we befriend them, they're not going to fuck with us. We're going to be good. No, man. Hypocrites. So, you don't let your left hand know what your right hand doeth. Okay? Romans 2:29. But he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and the circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of man, but of Yahweh. Right, man? So inwardly, inside, in your heart, you believe in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. It does not have to be proclaimed publicly and openly to let everyone know about what you believe. Because, in secret, subconsciously, y'all doing that for attention. You want people to look at you and say, oh, he's a good man, a God-fearing man. He's got his fringes on. You must be a man of the Lord. No, that's not what this is about. Inwardly, you believe. You should just be seeking to please Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But some people, some jakes, though, they're not on that, of selfish reasons. They genuinely just really believe, but they've been brainwashed to think that they don't have their fringes on, that they're offending the Lord. And that's not right. At all. Okay? So that where your fringes at, spirit and mass question that these other camps and teachers out in the streets that be doing, that shit is way off. Ecclesiastes 7:16, be not righteous overmuch, neither make thyself overwise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? Right, man. Jake pushing that sentiment out there done fucked up this man's career. 1 Corinthians 10:23, it says, all things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. Let no man seek his own, but every man another's wealth. All right, so all things are lawful. It's lawful to wear fringes. It's not expedient to wear it everywhere you go publicly in the land of our captivity, though. It's just not wise, and it's unnecessary. You're not going to be in trouble if you don't do that. The Lord isn't going to strike you down if you don't have your fringes on 24/7, man. And the hypocritical thing about it, the same groups that push that sentiment, you done got men that got kicked out or big scandals going on of a nigga in fringes took a picture of his dick and sent it to another man's wife. And they going back and forth over the phone, having sex conversations on what they going to do to each other, how she going to cheat on her man and he's going to be doing whatever with her. In his fringes sent the photo. And IUIC brung it out. So the fringes are not stopping anything wicked that goes on in that congregation. It's the faith, the sincere faith. And people don't believe in their heart. They just want to be a part of a club. And they look at this thing as a fraternity because that's how it's treated amongst these other groups. And they're in it just to get women and be, and do nigga shit. It's Matthew 5:25 says, agree with thine adversary quickly while thou art on the way with him. Lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Right, man. You got to learn how to be smart, how to deal with these devils, especially with police officers. You're doing your police officer, your supervisor. You just agree quickly, man. Hey, you got to take those teeth seats off. Okay, cool. I'll take them off. No problem. Boom. Then Jake could have kept his fucking job, man. Been able to provide for his kids, still believe in the Lord, still be blessed in the eyes of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and been good. So now what? Now you got to go through hoops to try to find another career and hopes that they go ahead and accept you and allow you to work for them with that on. When all these companies do not give a damn about quote unquote black Hebrew Israelites. They don't support you unless you come across another man in your organization that's working and can hire you, which, hey, is rare. a few name in between, man. You're not going to be able to do that. And he could start his own business up and wear it, then that's on you, Jake. If that's what you want to do. But even then, if you try to start your own business and that's what you showcase and you walking around in, you putting a target on your business unnecessarily. Again, you're not going to lose your salvation because you don't wear them all the time. You've been lied to, Jake, if that's what you've been taught by these other groups.
For you voluntarily resigning from this company. I slid that paper back to her and I said, ma'am, I was like, I'm not voluntarily resigning from this company. I thought what I just heard in there, you guys basically told me I can't work here if I'm wearing my tassels. I was like, I can't do that. I was like, can you please, in your writing, and have me an official printed document on why you guys are telling me basically that I can't work here? Is it because of my tassels? Because I told her, I was like, with all due respect, man, I'm not voluntarily resigning. You guys are the ones that told me that this is not gonna work if I wear my tassels. And I get it. They said it's a safety policy, but the point that I'm getting at is I was in contact with this company for weeks now. I talked to 4 to 5 different individuals with my tassels on every single time I've talked to them. Even one of them, I personally mentioned to him, hey, I want to put this up front with you.
They don't give a damn. This is why you don't give your alms before men. Don't. I mean, Jake, if he gets edified by this video, he's going to be like slapping himself in the head like, damn, I shouldn't have did that shit. And that's the spirit you should be in. Or he's going to scoff and get all mad and go on a kick with these other groups. GMS teaches against fringes. See, they're false prophets. However you take it, we don't give a fuck. This is to edify the body. Because you got other brothers and sisters that are new to this that's coming into the truth. And they can avoid this type of shit. Ultimately, all of us are going to lose our careers and businesses for this truth as we progress in the last days. Because when persecution gets activated, yeah, all of our faces going to be put on blast. You might see your face on the news, okay, the newspaper, social media, major outlets are going to be putting you on blast as a dangerous person because of this belief. Even though there's nothing dangerous about it, it's dangerous to Esau's kingdom, yeah. It's a sign of Esau's going down. But ultimately, we're all going to lose it. But, so we don't have a fear about losing our positions just because we choose not to wear our fringes. Whether you got fringes on or not, all of us going to be painted as the enemy of the state. That you must know and understand. Eventually it will come to that. But before it does, why should you destroy yourself? Okay? Wearing your fringes is not your ticket to get delivered. As I gave the example, you got niggas in fringes sending dick pics to another man's wife. You think they still go get delivered with the dick pic fringes on? No. It's not how this thing works. Okay, so again, I started with this precept. We'll close it out at Proverbs 19 and 20. Hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be wise in the latter end. We are in the latter end, okay? You got to be as wise as you possibly can. All right, you're a sheep in the midst of wolves. Be wise as a serpent, yet harmless as a dove. It's not hard, Jake. All right, it says there are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of Yahweh, that shall stand. This is counsel, so you have understanding. Yes, fringes are lawful. They're holy. They're found within scriptures. It was given an instruction for us to wear them. But in this modern day latter end, there's a time and a place for certain things that we try to keep to the best of our ability. And not everybody needs to know what you're about. Because if everybody knows what you're about, just know that you are a target, and you're gonna make things worse for yourself. So be as Clark Kent, man. This truth is our superhuman ability. This faith, it grounds us, it keeps us safe. Hey, look, wear your cape underneath your suit, man. You got to be able to know how to maneuver and operate in this society, man. maneuver. Maneuver right. You gotta know how to maneuver in a society, man. Don't be stupid, man. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't get all extra for it, man, because you'll mess yourself up, Jake. You know, so Lord's will lessons edifying. I'm gonna close out. Give all praises, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kakadash. Double honors to our apostles, elders, great millstone, tossers, truth and will well. And so I taste you, hopefully I push this truth and honest sincerity. Shalom.